Let your eyes close whenever they want to. There's nothing here you need to follow. No story that ends badly. No moment you'd want to stay awake for. Just a place, and the sound of water, and the quiet kind of dark that settles over a camp when the fires start to burn low. Take a breath in, slow and full. Let it go. And again, you don't have to hold anything tonight. You can put it all down. If you drift off before the river, before the camp, before the tent with a single candle, that's fine. That's the whole point. This isn't a story that needs you. It will carry on quietly, the way the Danube does, whether anyone is listening or not. Breathe in again and feel the weight of your body where it rests, the pillow, the mattress, the warmth gathering underneath the covers. Let your shoulders fall a little further down and a little more. Somewhere behind your eyelids is the year 170 AD, and the frontier is dark, and the river is wide, and a man is sitting at a small desk writing things he never meant for anyone to read. You can drift toward that, slowly. The Danube at dusk is the color of iron, not the clean silver of rivers in paintings, but something heavier. Grey-brown water moving steadily, carrying whatever the mountains upstream have given it. You're standing at the bank. The air is cool here, not cold yet, the particular chill that comes off moving water in early autumn. The river is wide enough that the far shore is just a line of trees, low and dark against the sky. And across that line, somewhere beyond those trees, is what the Romans called barbaricum, everything outside the empire. The sound of the river is constant, a low, continuous rush that pushes through everything else. And below it, just barely, the low scrape of the current against the bank. Behind you, a few hundred meters back from the water, the camp is already lit. Oil lamps at the gate, fires between the tents, a line of torches along the wall. 5,000 soldiers are somewhere in those lights. Marcus Aurelius has been camped along this river for 4 years already. He would stay for 4 more. The Danube campaigns ran for 8 years in total. One long, grinding frontier war that he handled because someone had to, and no one else was available. A philosopher emperor, holding the edge of everything. The river keeps moving. You watch it for a while. There's no urgency to go anywhere just yet. The camp at Carnuntum is laid out in a grid. That's one of the things about Roman military engineering. It didn't change much. The same streets, the same spacing between tents, the same orientation north to south, whether the legion was in Syria or Britain or here on the Danube in what is now modern Austria. You walk in through the main gate. The guards don't stop you. They're watching the tree line across the river. The road inside is packed earth, rutted from wagons. The smell reaches you before anything else does. Wood smoke, yes, but under that, leather. The particular dense animal smell of thousands of leather tunics and boots and saddles and tent walls, and food. Something grain-based, and meat, and the sharp edge of vinegar from the posca, the soldier's drink, which is just wine gone sour mixed with water. Not as unpleasant as it sounds. The tents are low and dark, canvas that's been through rain and sun until it's exactly the brown of dry mud. Oil lamps hang from iron hooks at the tent entrances. The flames are very still tonight. No wind. You walk deeper into the camp. The voices are low, unhurried conversations. The sound of a dice game somewhere. The occasional stamp and blow of horses from the cavalry section on the eastern side. At the center of the camp, away from the perimeter and its noise, there's a larger tent. A single lamp outside it. That's where you're going. Inside, it's smaller than you'd expect for an emperor. There's a cot with a wool blanket, plain, not silk. A bronze basin on a stand, a low table with a pitcher, and by the far wall, a writing desk, marked by one candle. The desk is simple, unfinished wood. Ink stained at the corner where a stylus has been set down too many times. There are scrolls, a few stacked on a shelf, more in a leather case beside the desk. These aren't dispatches or campaign maps. They're written in Greek. Marcus chose to write his private notes in Greek, not Latin. His mother tongue for governance was Latin, but Greek was the language of philosophy, of thought, of the inner life. It was a private language, a language nobody else in this camp would likely read. The scrolls are the meditations, and the word meditations is a translation actually. The Greek is something closer to things addressed to himself. That's what they are, conversations he was having with himself, corrections he was making, reminders he apparently needed over and over again. There's no draft for public release, no political calculation, just a man trying to be better at being a man. The candle is burning low. He must have been at it for a while. You sit near the entrance, just inside the tent flap, and listen. The sound of writing by candlelight is a very small sound, the scratch of a bronze stylus on a wax tablet. A pause, the scratch again. Sometimes he stops for a long while, long enough that you can hear the canvas shifting faintly where the tent wall meets the pole. And then the scratch returns, slower than before. What he's writing tonight probably sounds something like this. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. That's from Book the Tweed. Or perhaps something from Book V, which he wrote during the Danube campaigns. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. He wrote that here, on this river, during a war. The remarkable thing about the Meditations isn't the philosophy. Other philosophers wrote better philosophy. The remarkable thing is that Marcus was writing corrections. Not advice for others, corrections for himself. He kept writing the same reminders year after year, which probably means he kept needing them. Patience, attention, doing what was needed and no more. The scratch of the stylus in the dark, a pause, the sound of him setting it down. He sits for a while without writing, just the candle. Just the sound of 5,000 soldiers breathing in their sleep and the distant push of the river through the night. He steps outside. You follow, a few steps behind. The camp is quieter now. The fires have dropped to coals, orange and low. He walks toward the river, not hurrying. The path to the bank is worn smooth. He's walked it before. At the edge of the camp, where the lamplight ends, it gets very dark. Then your eyes adjust and it gets less dark. The sky out here, away from Rome, away from the city, is full of stars, not the handful you see from a city, thousands. The Milky Way cutting across from one horizon to the other, a smear of light so dense it casts a faint shadow. And below it, the Danube. The river is reflecting the stars back up, not perfectly, not a mirror, but in moving fragments. A star appears in the current, then another. Then the ripple takes them and they scatter. The sound of the water is louder here. All that cold push of water coming from the Alps and heading east toward the Black Sea, carrying stars on its surface for a few minutes before it lets them go. Marcus stands at the bank for a while. He doesn't appear to be thinking about anything in particular. Sometimes that's what the Meditations actually sounds like too. Not philosophy, just a man standing by a river. The stars in the water drift past. Back in the camp, things are settling. The last few fires bank down one by one. A soldier at one of them pushes the embers inward with a stick, then lays the stick across the top and leaves it. The conversations have stopped. From somewhere deep in the tent rows, a cough, and then nothing. The guards on the wall are still. You can just make them out from here, shapes against the lower stars. They walk their route slowly, one end to the other, turn and walk back. One of them pauses near a torch and stands very still, watching the river or watching nothing. It's hard to tell from here. The horses in the cavalry section have stopped moving. You can hear, just barely, the sound of one of them breathing, a long, slow exhale in the dark. The camp smells different now that the fires are lower, less smoke, more river. That mineral cold water smell pushing in from the Danube. Wet stone and old wood and something clean underneath everything. Marcus Aurelius wrote that sleep was the natural philosopher, that the body knew things the mind spent years trying to learn. He suffered from chronic pain for most of his life, possibly stomach ulcers, possibly something else, which means sleep wasn't always easy for him. But on nights like this, on the Danube, in the quiet of the camp, perhaps it was. The last torch near the gate flickers once, and holds. Everything is still now. The river is always continuing. That's the thing about the Danube on the frontier. It doesn't care about empires, or philosophy, or the particular year. It's been here since before the camp, and it'll be here after. Something about that is easier to rest inside than anything else. Back in the tent, the candle is almost burned down. The flame is very small, a pale point of light in all that darkness. The scrolls are closed. The stylus is set down. He's asleep probably, as is everyone. The guards on the wall, the horses, the soldiers in their tents. 5,000 people sleeping on the edge of the empire, with the river on one side and the dark on the other. Let yourself go with them. There's nothing left to hold. The candle flame shrinks a little more. The river keeps moving, far away now, a sound almost too low to hear. Almost like breathing, almost like the sound you make when you're asleep. The flame goes out, the river continues.